Apologize for that cup there in your shot. Well, as we count down to the largest conference on any global health or development issue, the International AIDS Conference in Durban, the creative industry has decided to play their role in the fight against the disease. An exhibition titled South African Voices Towards a Museum of HIV Memory and Learning recently opened at the KwaMuhle Local History Museum, which is a collection of artifacts, artistic history and photographic items that pay tribute to people affected by HIV. Now, to tell us more about the exhibition, which will run until the 31st of December, we're joined from our Durban studios by South African Voices Project Director Debbie Heustice. Debbie, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be with you.
Debbie, let's talk about South African Voices. Let's give it context. Let's explain to our viewers what this is.
Great. So South African Voices, as you said, is an exhibition, and it is our opportunity as South Africans to start to build a museum of HIV memories and learning in South Africa. South Africa's come a really, really long way in its journey with HIV, and as you said, we now have a new AIDS conference coming to our shores. It starts this week. And so this was an opportunity to really create a lasting legacy and to really have a platform in South Africa to show how much we have achieved, but also not to forget how much we've struggled as a country in coping with HIV.
All right, let's talk about the significance of the title of this exhibition, Towards a Museum of HIV Memory and Learning. What is the significance of that title?
Yes. Well, we are based at KwaMuhle Museum, which is an eThekwini natural history museum. And as such, we're not a fully fledged museum yet. So we felt we needed to put the towards into the title and to be very clear with South Africans that this is a journey, that establishing an institution, a museum of HIV is a long and collective process. And therefore, the name South African Voices is around saying that South Africans, you have an opportunity to have your voice heard. You have an opportunity to share your stories. This is the story of all of us in South Africa. And in order to do that, it's going to take probably many years to create a fully fledged museum, but we're creating a very good start. Therefore, the towards a museum of HIV memory and learning.
What is in this museum? Tell us a little bit about that.
Great. Well, there are 4 zones. The first is really to help somebody that has very little knowledge of HIV to know everything from what the virus looks like to who discovered it to prevention, treatment, HIV counseling and testing, as well as some of the really important breakthroughs in science that South Africans have made. We also show the link between HIV and TB. And so that zone we've called About HIV. It's really a foundation zone, and it's an opportunity to really establish the groundwork of what HIV means, whether that be locally or internationally, but it's definitely got a South African flavor. Once you walk out of that space, you're in the Voices Zone or South African Voices Zone, where we're able to tell the story of HIV in South African children, youth, the South African National AIDS Council sectors and the work that has been done at a national, provincial and local level in many communities around ensuring that there is a collective voice, a voice of not just government but also civil society in changing policy, in ensuring that programming is a interactive process in South Africa. And I think in South Africa we're doing very well with our South African National AIDS Council in doing that. So there's a very large section exploring all those South African voices.
Debbie, let's
talk about... It's also an opportunity, yes?
Sorry about that, continue.
So then the third zone is around memory, and we have a really beautiful installation called Oceans of Remembrance, and people have an opportunity to write a name of somebody that has been lost as a result of HIV, and for that to reflect on some very calming ocean waters and to move in and out of those waters on an ongoing basis so that those memories are not lost beyond the conference. And the final zone is learning, looking really at what we've achieved as South Africa, where we're going as a country, some of the new models, the new opportunities that are being tried. So 4 zones, lots to learn.
Let's talk about the creative industry and why it's important for this industry to also play their role in the fight against the scourge of HIV/AIDS.
I think that's an important question, and I really feel that every South African has a role to play. It's all of our collective responsibility to realize that although in South Africa treatment is now a daily reality for people, from September we'll have test and treat in our country, every single industry needs to constantly be aware that there is a story, an ongoing story of HIV. We cannot rest on our laurels. We need to remember that prevention is key and that we cannot treat our way out of this epidemic. We need to constantly be reminding youth and to be having those conversations at every level of society. And therefore I feel the entertainment industry has got a huge role to play in finding creative and interactive and gentle ways to engage people in important healthcare issues.
All right. Debbie, thank you so much for talking to us about this exhibition that's on at the KwaMuhle Museum on Brown Fisher Road in Durban. South African Voices Project Director Debbie Heustice speaking to us about a collection of artifacts, artistic, historic and photographic items that pay tribute to people affected by HIV. Now, the project is titled South African Voices Towards a Museum of HIV Memory and Learning. All right, let's take a break. Stay with us.